Okay, this is going to be a very brief video on how I use Fibs with dots and NQ stat, initial balance, how to get on a runaway train, so to speak, so you have a shot at not missing the move. So I generally just try to draw fibs from highs to lows, lows to highs, and then I like to see price react to the 40 to 60% range. You know, the mean is that the mean of that is 50%. So you have a low to a high. Now this isn't necessarily actionable. Just putting a limit order. This is right at the open, but you can see how the 50%, 40 to 60%, the 50% gets respected. So this isn't necessarily actionable to me, but I want to see where price goes relative to the fib targets. So a normal measured move would be low to high to 50% to negative 23%, and then a retracement of 40 to 60% of this leg. But you can see price, this is a 5-minute chart, price traced the negative 23%, which is basically just 123% of this leg, of this move. And then you can see we push through it. And so when price pushes through it without retracing lower, I change how I draw fibs. So if we reacted to the negative 23 and came back, I'd be drawing the fib from this low to the negative 23% high, and then this would be my next area to potentially look to engage. So because we hit the negative 23% and traded through it, I'm looking for an extension. I call it an extension. So your next pull will be from a high to a high. And so this is a legitimate runaway train. And so you combine the dots are bullish, initial balance, right? So we're clearly in the upper half of the opening range, the 1 hour opening range. So we trade the negative 23% and we push through it. And so when that happens, I'm drawing a fib from high to high. So you can see we trade to the 50% here to the negative 23% here. Same anchor, new high. So this, I'm talking to Freezy, a guy in our group. This is the next area to engage because it's 1020. We're targeting this high or potentially higher for initial balance. We're in the upper half of the first hour. Looks you basically just assume or best guess that price will close at 1030 in the upper half of this range. So we're clearly making higher highs, higher lows. So rather than draw from the fib from this low to high, you're drawing high to high. And so this little pocket, call it 40% to 60%. This little pocket is the new area you're looking to engage. And so you can see we front ran the 50%. These wicks and bodies, lead to believe that some sellers are being trapped here, and then we're looking to target the initial balance high. Because if you just waited for 1030 to close, we're basically closing at the high at the time. Clearly the next minute after 1030 trades the initial balance high. So you're assuming that the highs will be broken, and so you need to find an entry function that satisfies that, and that just comes from backtesting. So that's how I use fibs, how you could have used fibs to get into this specific move. And again, it's just accentuated by the dots being bullish. You're either long, looking for a long, or not looking to short, and then you combine that with NQ stats, initial balance, fair value gaps, these EMAs are holding. I use these fibs, whatever you want. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.